Sean Whaley is furious.
He's upset. But 100%.
Oh, good to be fucking with you guys. Welcome to Axe Kick Picks. New episode 94. Today is Friday, April 12th, 2024. It's good to be with you guys. UFC 300. I am D-Rock, and I'm joined by my co-host from the beautiful state of South Carolina, the golf capital of the world, Joey D. Joe, how you doing, kid?
Hey, had to get that pumping if you saw real quick. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time, y'all. Let's get into this. We got a lot in store.
Got a lot in store. We'll recap real quick about Cody Rhodes that finishes the story, who he might face next at Backlash. We got some MMA news. We'll start at the top of the show. And then UFC 300. We got picks in every single fucking fight. It's going to be amazing. And Joey will end us with his 10 seconds left in BKFC down in Clearwater, Florida. But Joe, real quick, last week, what a story. Way to end the weekend. I think it was the story of the weekend besides, Brandon Allen's big win. But Cody Rhodes, what a main event it was. Seen beyond the world. You had everyone be emotional. I was emotional. I was crying. My fucking parents were like, what are you yelling for? I mean, the whole thing with the Usos coming out. You had Solo Sikoa come out. Then you had John Cena. And then the Dead Man came out. The Rock came out. Literally, it was amazing. But Cody Rhodes finishes the story. He gets his belt that his father never was able to get. He gives it to his mother. And then you saw everyone. You saw Triple H come out and everyone. It's the Paul Effect era. Reluctantly, yes. But it's the Paul Effect era, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was one of the best WrestleManias ever.
Yeah, absolutely was. I mean, also if you want to go specific to the time frame, like the closing moments of WrestleMania 40, XL literally lived up to that. It was extra large, if you would, you know what I mean? The lights were shining extra bright. I heard from a lot of the people that they haven't heard a sports event louder than when the Undertaker's gong hit. Yeah. That it just erupted, and you heard it through the screen, so. Yeah, Cody finished the story, and so did Roman. A lot of people talked about that as well. I'm glad they did. A 10-year-long, bad blood between Roman and Seth. Seth, turned on Roman back in the day to get the title, and Roman got him back with that steel chair. He could have done it to Cody Rhodes to stay the tribal chief as the champion, but he had to get his retribution to Seth. So they both finished their story. If you really think of it, it was a wonderful weekend. Paul Heyman in the Hall of Fame, Muhammad Ali in the Hall of Fame, all the other countless wrestlers there, and it all culminated in that main event. It was a beautiful sight to see, and like you said, we're in the Triple H era, man, going forward, and Cody's the right man to lead the way. He definitely is.
I'm glad you brought up Paul Heyman and his Hall of Fame speech. If you guys haven't seen it, one of the best speeches, such Paul Heyman. I mean, the guy was just dropping bombs left and right. He's the best ever.
It got me to rewatch Tables, Ladders, Chairs, like the first WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
It got me to watch like all ECW again. Like, obviously we always stay in tune, but just, the passion he had about that promotion. A lot of us loved ECW, man.
Love how he went in with the ECW. Oh, I still got love for ECW. He went in with the hat, with the microphone. Oh, it was amazing. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up Roman Reigns. I mean, he saved the company during the pandemic. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, what this company kind of was going through a transition, and for him to step up and kind of carry the company. Oh, it was amazing. The story with whole Cody, and then 10 years, like you said, real WWE fans know this, but Seth did that to him 10 years ago. So for him to finish the story, oh, it was amazing. But yeah, I'm so happy for Cody, his family, everyone. It was so cool that he came out with his wife. By the way, you are a stud, Cody. Congratulations. Not just in the ring, out of the ring.
And to pat ourselves on the back here, you and I, we made a lot of you guys money over the course of the weekend. We should have got the Sammy in the first night. That's the one I'm kicking myself, but we've hit everything else. We missed the Final Testament winning because I thought that I didn't expect that, they would go and get, speaking of ECW, Bubba Ray Dudley to be the referee, a special guest referee for that. That we should have saw coming and been like, you know what, the faces are going to win that one. So otherwise we hit on everything. If you guys had the ability to take some bets on books, y'all would have hit.
Yeah, if you guys are on offshore accounts and are able to bet on the WWE, I think we hit on everything besides the Sami Zayn fight, which I'm still kicking myself for not taking Sami because we are a fan of him. But yeah, WrestleMania, one of the best ever. I'm glad Cody finished his story. Now we're on the backlash. But before we get into our picks, we got some news. Instead of doing it at the end, we didn't have anything to recap, so we'll start here with some news. Michael Johnson is out of his fight against Steamroller Frivola that was scheduled to go down May 11th at UFC St. Louis. The promotion is looking for a new opponent for Matt Frivola. Any suggestions? We are matchmakers here on the show, kid.
Yeah, man. Michael Johnson, OG of the sport. Man, it's gonna be tough. I think Frivola is game enough to take a fight against anybody. So, being that Michael Johnson isn't ranked, and it very well may be another unranked fighter, someone who's gonna stand and bang with Matt Frivola. He had that tough loss against BSD, but I think he wants to get it back, and he's probably itching to do so. And I don't think he's gonna turn down whoever's gonna step in on last minute. So, yeah, I think they're gonna have someone as a stand-up fighter.
Yeah, Matt Frivola is ranked at 15th. I don't know if they give him an unranked fighter. Bobby Green's 14, Marcano's 13. They all got fights this week. What about RDA sitting at 12, or does he get that BSD fight back at 11?
Oh no, I don't think they're gonna run that back. That's a tough fight for him to run back, especially it wasn't really like a split decision loss or anything controversial. He got caught early. So that's not a bad call. RDA, a legend of the sport, get a feather in the cap against him. I just don't know if RDA is going to want to accept that against him and step it on last minute replacement to do so. We got to see.
About a month away too, so he doesn't even have a full camp.
What fight is he going on? What card?
UFC St. Louis, May 11th.
Hey, you saw Joaquin Buckley at the press conference. He was calling for the main event. He's like, Derek Lewis doesn't want to fight 5 rounds. He's like, put me in the main event. Shout out.
I love Dana White going. And on that note, we're gonna end it. Yeah, peace out, guys. Credit him shooting his shot, and he's really pushing for that main event, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Vivian Araújo will take on Jasmine Javicius, UFC July 13th. No one knows where this is going to be. It might be at the Apex, might be at a different city, but you like this fight for Vivian Araújo?
Yeah, I like it for Jasmine Javicius as well. That's a war of attrition between the two. Both grinders, they get in there. They want to, try to implement their game plan, which is more or less wrestle down. But I do think because they both can wrestle, they're probably going to wind up standing with one another, and they're both willing to take punishment. They'll stand and trade. And, if we might see some good scrambling, some good exchanges on the ground. But, if it stays on the feet, I think both of these girls are going to get touched up a bit. And you might see some blood in that kind of war.
Yeah, it's a big step up for competition for Jasmine. She is fighting the number 10th ranked flyweight. So big step up for her. And shout out Vivian for giving her this opportunity. You don't see a lot of, ranked fighters, especially in the top 10 fighting unranked fighters. So I do like that. Andre Arlovsky, he's going to be taking on Martin Buday, UFC Vegas 93, June 15th. I like this fight for Andre Arlovsky. If I'm being honest.
I think he can get a victory. I was high on Martin Buday, but looked at his resume and he didn't really fight the two high level opponents.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of can crushing at the time. And I think who he dropped to, Samuel Gazaev. He lost to Samuel Gazaev. So
and he's a fraud too.
And that kind of exposed Buday. So yeah, this is a winnable fight for Arlovsky. And I think he just came off a win, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he's puts together some wins. We're gonna have 6 fights in a title for Andre Arlovsky.
I love it.
Renaissance.
Also on that UFC Vegas 93 on June 15th, Andre Munoz will take on Ikram Aliskerov. Tough fight for Andre Munoz. He's kind of been on a skid lately.
Yeah, he's been on a skid. So surprising Ikram didn't take a fighter that has been on a win streak as well. I think they're just trying to, push him a little bit. And it's unfortunate for Munez, but it's a good fight to get on track for him if he can wind up catching, because he's still a submission threat and he's knocked out some good fighters, Munez has. So if he can surprise the world and do that against a killer like Ikram, that says a lot about that division as a whole. But
yeah,
man, Ikram should be favored by like $3 or $4, to be honest with you.
We got 3 fights announced for UFC 302 in Newark on June 1st. Sumu Darji will take on Joshua Van. I love that fight there. Roman Kopylov will take on Cesar Almeida. And Alexander Volkov obviously is out. He's going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia. Jolton Almeida will take on Alexander Romanov, UFC 302. You like these 3 matches?
First one is the best sounding one. I think Joshua Van is a star in the making, and especially how that flyweight division's moving now. Depending on what happens with Ursay, we could see some quick movement by Joshua Van there at flyweight. Roman Kopylov, Cesar Almeida, that's a tough fight. And then jail time against Romanov. I think they're trying to get jail time back on track. I think the loss to Curtis Blades kind of hurt the UFC's plans with him. So, yeah, a lot to see at Newark. It's going to be fun for everyone in Jersey.
Makhmed Muradov is out against his fight against Michel Pereira. He will now take on Ihor Portera.
So Michel Pereira dropped out.
No. Makhmed Muradov is out. Michel Pereira will take on Ihor Portera. Yes.
Wow. Ihor Portera, the Ukrainian, he's a tough out. He's going to want to stand and bang. That's for sure. Yeah. And, Michel Pereira, we saw it last time. He can find a way to get submission. So he's explosive. He's a fun fighter. And he'll make it entertaining regardless. Throw in some capoeira, some wheel kicks, and maybe take it to the ground and submit him from there. I think that's the path of least resistance for Pereira. But, yeah, he wouldn't mind standing with him, I don't think.
Should be a good fight, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're gonna run it back. Raul Rojas Jr. will take on Ricky Tercios. UFC event June 8th, and one location, according to reports, MMA Junkie, a strong candidate for that UFC June 8th card, Louisville, Kentucky. The WWE is holding an event there the night before. I think it's going to be Friday Night SmackDown at the KFC Yum Center. So, wow. Hey, it might be my UFC might just be like, hey, we'll just be right there. So Lexington, Kentucky, hey, have yourself a night. Or Louisville, excuse me.
Yeah, Louisville, have a weekend. Yeah. That's a good fight. We should have saw it a month ago, and I'm glad they're running that back. I think Ricky Tercios wants to get the win over Rojas, but Raul Rosas, he needs to get a win over a guy like Tercios. So important fight for both of them. Absolutely is.
Do you like this matchup for Raul Rojas Jr.? Because, they tried to build him up and then he got kind of derailed by C-Rod. Now they're giving him Ricky. I think this is a good step up, though, in competition.
Yeah, and Ricky's a dog. You can't. He reminds me a lot of like a lighter Tony Ferguson, if you would.
Nice. Yeah, good comparison.
I mean, he can bring the dog out of Raul Rosas. He's so young, we want to see this young dude succeed, not like a Sage Northcutt. Like back in the day, he was pushed very early and the train derailed from him. So Rosas could prove us right in hopes that he's our future star being at his age.
Speaking of locations, the UFC announced UFC 308 will take place in Abu Dhabi October 26th. They're going to make their annual trip to Abu Dhabi in October. And Joe, special day October 26th. What day is that?
Oh, yeah, that's my birthday, man. I would love to go to Abu Dhabi. Anybody trying to get me a ticket, I'll fly out with you.
Yeah, hit up Joe on X or Instagram, or reach out, comment below. Hey, if you want to fund a trip for the boys to go to Abu Dhabi for his birthday, we won't say no. We will not say no. It is appreciated. But yeah, that's going to be sick. Can't wait for that. They still have one, they are hinting at Manchester in July, late July, either the 20th or 26th or something like that.
Looks like October's going to have 2 dates. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Salt Lake City, they always have that annual one there. November obviously is going to be here at MSG. And then obviously December is always back at Las Vegas, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So going to be very, very interesting moving forward. But yeah, Joe, that's all the news and bits I got for you. Before we get to our plays, quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We favor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC 300, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, let's get to it. The biggest card of the year, UFC 300. Early prelims start at 6 p.m. here on the East Coast. Prelims start at 8, and then the main card, pay-per-view, starts at 10 p.m. Joe, take us away.
Yeah, let alone the biggest card of the year, the biggest card in the company's history. And TKO is on a roll. They just had, the biggest event of the year in WrestleMania, let alone it was the biggest event of WWE, their company's history. So, man, TKO shares going straight up through the roof.
Through the roof.
If you took their initial public offering value, took that IPO early, you're making money now. I know that to be a fact because it's just going to go up. So it kicks off. Yeah, it kicks off right away. I'm not missing it. I know you're going to be tuned in, locked in as soon as the first fight kicks off. And it's an exciting one. Arguably a title eliminator, maybe one fight away for each of these guys. In the bantamweight division, Deiveson Figueiredo at -305 is taking on Cody No Love Garbrandt at +250. And, man, I'm going to hand it off to you for the first fight of the evening because, like you said, you're not only going to be locked in watching, you're going to be in it. You're going to have a ticket right away. So what you got?
Oh, I got a ticket in every fucking fight, kid. I will say, important to note, everybody made weight. All, I think 25, 26 fighters all made weight, so it's good. Everybody made weight. Kayla Harrison looked good. Charles Oliveira looked good. A lot of these guys that, sometimes have questionable on the scale, they all look good. No one needed, like, the curtain or whatever, so just important to know. But, yeah, I'm going to go Deiveson Figueiredo here. He is a minus what? I'm looking at the
$3 favorite. Yeah,
it's a $3 favorite. Some 305s, 310s across the board. +245, +254. No chin Garbrandt, and that's how I see this fight going. I just don't think I like Cody, but I don't think he's to the level of Deiveson Figueiredo is. I think Deiveson Figueiredo goes in there, puts him away via inside the distance at -105. He's very chinny, Cody Garbrandt, and the striking is just so crisp. He's technical. If he stays on the outside, I really think Deiveson Figueiredo is going to put it on him. So I'm going to take him via inside the distance, and we're going to start the card with a knockout. So give me Deiveson Figueiredo via inside the distance at -105.
Hey, I appreciate that take. I think that's what everyone's expecting, but I got an opposite view on this. As opposed to what you're thinking with Deiveson Figueiredo's technical striking, I think he's a little sloppy in there. Hands down, comes in with a plotting style, and he does take a lot of hits. He's just got a chin on him, and now at 135, he doesn't have to worry about getting dropped as much. But Cody is the guy to do that. Cody, I think in this fight, he's going to have the better footwork. That's the key in this. I think Cody's going to have to not look for the knockout, but play on the outside, play to his strengths, which I think in this style of fight is going to be the better footwork. He's going to have to work around Deiveson Figueiredo's power. That's the key here. And Figueiredo, if he lands some shots, he sometimes lacks a killer instinct. I hate to say it. He gets that. He has those finishing capabilities, but sometimes when he gets a guy hurt, he's just not going in for the kill like you would normally like. And I think that's worrisome. And of course, he wants to start off $300,000 on the line. Somebody here is going to want to start off with a bang, but I think it's going to be a great fight. I think Cody, everything that I've seen in the training, I really think that there's no way to really train your chin up, but I really feel like he's come back healthy. He's come back stronger. He's trying to get to the title. He's got history with Sean O'Malley. It's not storybook, but I'm expecting a great fight. I don't think a finish will happen. And if it does, I think it could happen late between either fighter. So I'm going over 2.5 rounds at even money, +100. I like both fighters in this one. I don't want to pick a side. But there is a lot of value on Cody Garbrandt at +250. There is, but I don't blame you for going with Figgy in this spot to open up the card. So let's move on to the lightweight division. And the next fight, two OGs of the sport, two veterans. So this fight should have happened about 3 times prior. Bobby King Green at -185. Surprising favorite in my eyes, being that he got knocked out by Jalen Turner pretty bad last time. Was taking on Jim fucking Miller at +155. Always a live dog in this spot, and that's who I'm going with. I'm going to give you my play. I'm taking Jim fucking Miller in this spot. I think the knockout prior to Bobby King Green is worrisome, and Jim Miller, he's going to want to get that $300,000 bonus, and I think he could finish Bobby Green on the ground, but taking him straight up is value. He could maybe catch him because we don't know if the chin has gone He's a brawler too. So the style that Bobby Green possesses could give Jim Miller some fucking problems. But I got to go with the Jersey native. He's great away from home. The fight isn't in Jersey. And he has won at UFC 100. He has won at UFC 200. I think he's going to win at UFC 300. Give me Jim fucking Miller as a dog, the first dog of the night, and one of my first picks.
Yep, give me Jim Miller as well, plus 154. I mean, what are we talking about? Like you said, he won at UFC 100. By the way, the varsity jacket is so sick.
Thanks for mentioning.
UFC 200, he won. You're right. He wrestles better away from his home state. He's won 5 of his last 6. Gabriel Benavidez, Jesse Butler. He lost to Alexander Hernandez. But outside of that, Daniel Cerrone, Eric Gonzalez, Nicholas Mata, like he's just a baller right now. It doesn't matter how old he is. He's 40 years old, but he doesn't fight like it. I do worry about the mental aspect of Bobby Green. I am a big fan of his name technically now, I guess, is King Green, but I'm still a fan of King, and I think he's a good fighter. I just think there's levels to it. I think this is all set up for Jim Miller to get back into the rankings and get one last shot. And maybe he needs a couple more fights, but I mean, what are we doing? If you're not taking Jim Miller at UFC 300, you're doing it wrong, kid. Plus 154. Give me my first dog.
I love it. Here we go. Jersey proud. Stand up, Hey, I think this third fight is going to be surprising for a lot of people. I don't know if people are sleeping on it, but both fighters bring it, man. In the women's strawweight division, Jessica Andrade, minus 135, is taking a Marina Rodriguez at plus 114, 115 on some books. And D-Rock, I'll hand it over to you. What's your play in the women's fight, the first one of the evening?
Oh, I really don't think this is a tough fight. And give me the Hall of Famer, Jessica Andrade, minus 140 on the money line. I just think her power, her stance, I think she's going to put it on Marina Rodriguez. I don't actually think it's going to be close. I love her footwork. I love the confidence that she came with the press conference yesterday. She looks really good. She made weight. She looks fantastic. And I just think there are levels to it. I mean, I just don't think Marina Rodriguez could hang with the power of Jessica Andrade. And I think she could stop some of the takedowns. So give me Jessica Andrade minus 140. I think she actually knocks her out.
Hey, we're on the same side. I'm taking a female BMF, but I got a different perspective because I think Marina Rodriguez is the type to want to keep it standing. I don't think her grappling is as stout as Andrade's. And so Andrade being the more powerful striker, I think she's also the more powerful grappler and wrestler. And we saw it when she fought Rose. She slammed her on her head and got the belt. Yeah. That proving that she's one of the all-time greats and that she's a Hall of Famer in that regard. So yeah, Jessica Andrade is who I'm taking in this one. I think the opposite. I think she's going to maybe want to initiate some wrestling and maybe get a finish late via ground and pound. But don't be surprised if she can catch Marina Rodriguez standing. I think Marina Rodriguez, she's very good. She's going to have to stay away from the takedowns. And that's where she could be a threat. But yeah, I can't fade Andrade at UFC 300. It seems storybook that she gets a finish at this event. Let's go into a great fight in the lightweight division between Jalen the Tarantula Turner at minus 238, 240 against Renato Money Moicano at plus 195, plus 200, $2 dog in this spot. I think the cards are stacked against Moicano here. He's never been submitted before, so Jalen Turner's never gone to decision before. You would think that that's probably how it's going to get done, that maybe Jalen Turner with the length, he'll find a way to submit his opponent, but I think coming off of that knockout, as we spoke about with Bobby King Green, I think his hands are hot. The only downside to stuff like that is that if you start looking for the knockout, sometimes you don't find it and you yourself get caught. Since Jalen Turner has never, like I said, won a fight via decision, and Renato Moicano has never lost a fight via submission, I'm taking via KO TKO for the Tarantula. Minus 135, so it is a little favored on the books, but I think the length is going to play a problem. I think it poses a significant problem for anyone in that lightweight class. So at 155, Jalen Turner is the truth, and I think he's a star on the rise. Give me the Tarantula via KO TKO at minus 135.
Yeah, same thing. Give me Jalen Turner via KO TKO. I got minus 115, so shop around. I just think when it comes to the power, I just think this is an awful matchup for Moicano. I mean, besides the Drew Dober one where he did get cracked a little, and he did figure out, he wrestled, he did his game plan, but against other powerful guys, he's not winning. He lost to Rafael Fiziev. He beat a guy like Chase Hooper. He grappled him. He beat a guy like Jay Herbert. Fluffy Hernandez, he submitted him in the first round. So, like, all these guys are submission guys. When it comes to the power, Jalen Turner took Matus Gamrot, who's a fight away from the belt, I would argue. He took him all the way to a decision loss. I think this is a bad matchup for Moicano. I think he's going to have to try to use his wrestling to stay away from the power, but Tarantula knows that. He's going to keep it on the outside. He's going to keep the distance, and once he gets touched, he's going to go night-night. It's a quick turnaround for Moicano as well. I think Jalen Turner is the healthier fighter. I think he's a more polished fighter. I think he has just more ways to win. So give me Jalen Turner via KO, TKO, -115.
Watch the kicks in that one for sure. And speaking of kicks, man, going into the featherweight division, I think this is going to be a sleeper fight for a lot of people. Again, this whole card, if you're not really expecting it, you're not watching out, a lot of the fights on the prelims are going to start this card off hot. Sadiq Youssef, Super Sadiq Youssef at +120 is a dog in this spot against Diego Lopes at -140, -145. I mean, it varies where you're seeing him. So he is a favorite, and, he's proven it time and time again in these spots. So, D-Rock, I'll hand it over to you. You got your boy, Diego Lopes?
Yes, sir. Diego Lopez -135 on the money line. Listen, I mean, I like Sadiq Youssef. I think he's a good fighter, but, we saw he was winning those first 2 rounds against Edson Barbosa, a legend, and then he just kind of ran out of steam. I don't think he has the best fight IQ either, if I'm being honest, and Diego Lopez is a star in the making. We saw him live in Newark last year, and taking that guy all the way to a decision. And a lot of people thought he might have won that as well. I just think he has more ways to win. I think he's going to drag this out into deep waters and make Youssef kind of make into an ugly fight. I just think that the ceiling is higher for Diego Lopez. Give me Diego Lopez money line -135.
Yes, and this is the second time we seem to be on the opposite side. We're 3 in a row, and I'm going to be going with Super Sadiq Youssef. I think there's value in him in the dog spot here. Diego Lopes, he's a green in terms of the UFC. Sadiq Youssef coming off of that loss with Edson Barbosa, he got taken to a decision. I think he's learned a lot from that loss. I think he emptied the gas tank in the first. And, the only scare is he might have to against a Diego Lopes in the first round. But after that, we'll see who's got the better condition, who's been putting the work into camp. And I'm going to go with Sadiq Youssef based off experience. I think, Diego Lopes has put a lot of people in danger, but, we haven't seen him as much in precarious positions, I would say. He had Movsar Evelev in the armbar. He wasn't really compromised to an extent where we could see him come back. He's always kind of been like, I think he won that fight against Movsar. A lot of people can argue otherwise, but, we haven't really seen him have to come over adversity as much. So I got to go with Super Sadiq coming from an experience loss against a legend of the sport, a Hall of Famer, Edson Barbosa, learning a lot from that. And I think this could be a loss that Diego Lopes learns from. And like you said, with all the potential and the high ceiling that he has, I think he'll grow from this spot. But yeah, I'm on opposite side. I'm going to take Super Sadiq Youssef, only Nigerian fighter on the card. And let's see. May the best man win right there. Now we move on to, wow, I never thought I'd say this. In the women's bantamweight division, Holly Holm at +330 is taking on Kayla Harrison at -425. Oh, man. I love the preacher's daughter. I was hoping for a Holly Holm main event. I hope she would have main event UFC 300. No, I'm going to chill. I'm going to pump the brakes on that. But Kayla Harrison at -425. The book sees something. The UFC sees something in her. And you got to look at the age discrepancy here with almost 10-year age gap. The younger fighter wins about 75+% of the time. And Holly Holm's susceptibility in her game is the submissions. I don't think this fight's going to go to distance. I think it's going to go like the Ronda Rousey fight where Kayla Harrison gets exposed on the feet and she can get caught. Or Holly Holm is going to get caught via submission. And I do have the debut of Judo Kayla Harrison via submission at +250. That's the best way you can get value from her. I think it can happen early. I see she made weight. She looked great. She seems locked in, focused. I thought she would have trouble making 135, but it looked like she made it like a breeze. So yeah, my money's on Kayla Harrison in her debut fight. And with a convincing win, submission win over Holly Holm, at plus 250, I think she gets a title fight. I'll be real with you, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. Give me fight to go the distance at minus 120. I think it goes all 3 rounds. Look at Aspen Ladd was able to take Kayla Harrison to a decision in all 3 rounds. Let's be honest. Aspen Ladd's not the greatest fighter. Holly Holm is a much better fighter. She's in the Hall of Fame for boxing. And look at all her past fights. Besides the no contest that got overruled by the Nevada State Commission with Mayra Berna Silva, Yana Santos decision. She lost a split decision to Caitlin Vieira. Unanimous decision, Irene Aldana, Raquel Pennington decision, Megan Anderson. They're all decisions. She's a decision fighter. And if Kayla doesn't get the submission win, she went to submission with Larissa Pachenko as well. She's a submission girl as well. I don't know if she gets a submission like an arm bar or rear naked choke. I don't know, because I think Holly Holm fighting over there in New Mexico, I don't know. I don't think she allows her to get the takedown. So I think it goes all 3 rounds. I do think Kayla Harrison wins via decision, but I'm going to go fight to go the distance at minus 120.
Hey, I like it. That's fair. Yeah, you're right. Kayla Harrison has gone to decision a couple times before, as you were saying. I think you mentioned submission, but I know you meant decision. But yeah, I do think the clash of styles could come to effect, and that could also result in going to the judges. So we'll see. Let's go into the featherweight division, and we're gonna have the debut of Aljamain Sterling. He's taking on Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar plus 145 in his return from injury is taking on Aljo at minus 175. He's a favorite on the books. Are you taking your boy in this spot?
Oh, yeah. Give me Aljo. I'll lay it minus 170. If you don't want to lay the minus 170, I think Aljo is a good parlay piece. I'm not a parlay guy, but I do think he is the right side. Long layoff for Calvin Kattar coming off that ACL injury. I think Aljo looks fantastic at 145. He looks huge. I think he's just going to drag him out. I think he's going to get the takedown, and I think he's just going to backpack him for all 3 rounds. I could even see a ground and pound, maybe stoppage finish, but I do think to get the best bang for your buck, if you don't want to lay the minus 170, plus 130 for Aljo to win via decision, I like that play as well, but I do think Aljo is the right side.
Yeah, I think I have that on my verdict pick. I have Aljo winning via decision because I do think that's more or less that he's going to try to go for the submission. I think it's a tough fight for him to debut at 145, but it's also a tough fight for Calvin Kattar to return from injury to take on one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. So I'm going with the Funk Master. I am willing to lay the 170, the 175, depending on where you saw it. I just think he has more ways to win, as you explained with some other fighters before. And if he does get into the positions he wants to, the backpack specifically, I think it could be a short night for Calvin Kattar. So that's why I took him on the money line. But I do have him via decision because more or less he's likely to get a submission. And Calvin Kattar is another fighter who's never been finished via submission. Yeah. So I'll take Aljo money line at minus 175.
Everything that keeps popping up to me is that Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar fight. I'm like, if Max couldn't put him away, I mean, I have a hard time believing Aljo will put him away.
Yeah, exactly. Fair game. And we're here at the main event of the prelims, and it's in the light heavyweight division. Jiri Prochazka, the Samurai BJP. I think you said he was the first one to the scale, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep, first one to the scale, consummate professional, slight dog, plus 102, taking on the Rocket, Alexander Rakic at minus 122. And I'll give you my play. Be surprising to a lot of you. I took Yuri in my last fight against Poatan, and I'm kicking myself for that. I should have maybe seen that, Poatan had the power to get Prochazka out of there, and that's what he did. I think the awkward style can come into effect on some occasions, but when you're fighting a guy like Rakic, who granted, he's coming off an injury as well. We got a lot of fighters returning off an injury, but I think he's layoff. I think he has enough time to be healthy, come back motivated, get his rank back in the title. And with the win over Jerry, I mean, he can be in the conversation for getting a title shot maybe after like Ankalaev. So I think he's got a lot of power. I think the leg kicks are super explosive. I think if Yuri leaves himself exposed, we have yet to see him get a win after the shoulder surgery. Maybe he's a different fighter. I have my doubts about Yuri, and I hate to say that because I like him as a fighter, as a person. I think he's a great character for the UFC. And, he's got a great fan base. And the things he says is something you can back. But I got to go with Rakic in this spot. Maybe not the fan favorite choice, but he's a favorite on the books. Who you got?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute for a sec. Yeah, give me Yuri Prohaska on the money line plus 100. The real samurai. Don't like what Rockage said, trying to create fake beef, saying he's not a real samurai. Yeah, we know you're here. I don't like the 2-year layoff. It's been 2 years. He was supposed to fight in February on that Los Angeles card. He got pulled out. Now he's fighting at 300. Don't like it. I'm not a one to believe in ring rust, but I do think 2 years off is a long time. Now you're having to fight Yuri Prohaska. He's heard all the doubts after that Alex Pereira fight. I'm not too worried about his shoulder surgery as much as you are when you outlined it. I think he's taking this fight really serious. I think he needs to get back in the winning circle. And I think you're right. After Magomed Ankalaev, I think if Yuri Prohaska wins, he's right back there in a title contention. Either fighter. Yeah, I think a little more Yuri, but guy's been out for 2 years. I mean, he has to work his way up a little bit. I'm not a fan of Alexander Rakic. If I'm being honest, I think the leg kicks won't be a problem for Yuri, and I just think he has more ways to win. I think his ground and pound is good. I think his takedown defense is good as well. So I'm going to, like you said in the other fight with Aljo, I think there's more ways to win for Yuri Prohaska. Give me the samurai on the money line plus 100.
Not leg kicks, more or less head kicks from Rakic. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Yuri, so I don't blame you for siding with him. I did kind of
he's immortalized here in the studio. How can I not take him?
Absolutely. So now we're here at the main event of UFC, the main card of UFC 300. And I'm seeing that it's kicking off with Bo Nickel. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, sir.
Yep. And so in the middleweight division, the astute Bo Nickel, minus 2,000, minus 2,100, and going up because money continually coming in on him, is taking on Cody Brundage at plus 1,200. And as much as the degenerate in me wants to go ahead and take a bet, take a flyer on Cody Brundage, I can't necessarily do just that. But I got something you might not like to hear, D-Rock. I'm going to go and take the fight to end via KO TKO in round 1 at plus 165. If there were time for Brundage to get it, it would be early and maybe catch Bo Nickel. But I'm thinking Bo Nickel is going to want to hunt for a finish. And I think we spoke on this. Brundage is not going to want to let this wrestling take a hold, but he's going to have to worry about his stand-up. And I think Bo Nickel, everything he's doing in camp, his IQ of the fight game now, he's got a pedigree in wrestling that is second to none. Bo Nickel, they're trying to push him, and this is a great fight. And a lot of people can argue that Cody Brundage is a can here, but there's no value really in taking Bo Nickel. So I went in the chance that Cody Brundage catches him, but also that Bo Nickel can catch him early. So I took the fight to end via KO TKO in round 1 at plus 165. What you got?
Yeah, tough to get any sort of value here in this fight. I have 2 bets. Fight to start round 2 at plus 138, and Bo Nickel to win the fight in round 2 at plus 430. I believe the hype. I think Bo Nickel is legit, but this is going to be his toughest task. And I think Cody Brundage is smart enough and good enough to know, hey, let's stay away from the wrestling. Let's try to strike with him. Let's kind of feel him out in the first round. And I just think that I think Cody Brundage is good enough to take this fight in the second round. Is he good enough to win the fight? Probably not, if I'm being honest. But I do think Bo Nickel will figure him out early in the second round and eventually get the submission win, or maybe even knock him out. We saw last fight he was able to get it. We saw his striking, whether it was his opponent or not. But regardless, I do think Cody Brundage is smart enough. He'll get out of the first round, maybe unscathed. Maybe it'll be a 10-8 round, but he'll last. Give me a fight to start round 2 and Bo Nickel to finish the fight in round 2 at plus 430. I
know you mentioned to me, I'm sorry to go ahead and take a different play, but maybe there's some mush there on my part. And so hopefully your ticket's cash there. Let's go into, I think it's going to be, chance for being fighter tonight. If not, like a bonus is going to come for either fighter here. The face-offs in the press conference was fantastic. I know the weigh-ins tonight are going to be another banger. So in the lightweight division, man, it could be a title eliminator as well. You know how the lightweight division is so stacked, so deep. Any fighter in the top 5 could basically get a shot at the throne. And Charles do Bronx Oliveira is at a plus 185. I mean, we saw him when he was a dog in his previous spot, taking on Arman Sarukian at minus 225. D-Rock, give me your opinions on this fight.
It's like the saying goes, the champ has a name, and his name is Charles Oliveira. Give me the champion, Charles Oliveira, plus 185. I mean, I don't understand the line at all. I mean, the range, the grappling exchange that they might go into. I just think Charles Oliveira is the much better fighter in all aspects. His striking, his grappling, and we saw look at what Charles Oliveira did. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and who was the other guy that it
Well,
was
he
in the
did
top?
lost to Islam, but then Beneil Dariush.
And Benel Dariush, he took away as well. So he also defeated Michael Chandler as well and stood
Good
and
call.
banged with him. So I mean, just if whatever Arman Sarukian wants to do, if he wants to stand and bang with them, I don't think that's a good idea. I think Charles Oliveira's striking is one of the best in the lightweight division, and I think the grappling exchange as well. I think there's the ways Charles Oliveira could counter it and get on top. I just think there are multiple ways Charles Oliveira gets this win. So I'm going to take the plus money on the money line, but watch out for a submission win. I'm going to take Charles Oliveira straight up plus 185.
I like you mentioned that because on my verdict plays, I do have Charles Oliveira with the first round submission, and my official play is the under 1.5 to play it safe at minus 105. You know, the line may be saying something. I hate for that to be the case because I'm a huge fan of Do Bronx, and I think, like you said, I think you analyzed the fight great. I think he's the better fighter in anywhere the fight may go. But as we go for storylines, there is history. Not only is there history between Charles and Islam, but there's history between Arman and Islam, and he may be motivated. He looks fantastic. You know, he may be the stronger guy of the two. Technically, Charles Oliveira, he's light years better. I do think that. I think Arman has ways to go when it comes to that. But if it maybe he can outmuscle him somehow, or maybe some fluky thing may happen that gives Arman the chance to get another first round finish. I don't see it, but just to play it safe, to kind of get a ticket to hit, I think this fight isn't going the distance at all. And I think this fight's going to end in the first or second round between either fighter. So I'm going with the under 1.5 on minus 105. But I am, like I said, lead in for Charles Oliveira. I heard a lot of people say if they see Olives lose, they're never going to watch the UFC ever again. And I don't blame him. He is such a fan favorite. So
yeah. And he has blonde hair, so he's back.
And now we go into the title section of the card. UFC 300 is going to feature the first defense of the BMF title, and the baddest motherfucker championship is between Justin, the highlight Gaethje, the human highlight, minus 175, kind of a big favorite in my eyes, taking on Max Blessed Holloway at plus 145. Man, I love Max Holloway, and I love the trunks that all these champions were getting. I know Max Holloway's not currently one, but he's a champion. Once you're a champion, you're always a champion,
Yeah.
And I do think the line is a little off. I think this could be a pick'em. I really do. I don't know. I get Justin Gaethje. He's on a tear. He knocked out Dustin in his last fight. We saw what Dustin did in his last fight. But Max Holloway has never been knocked out before. He's an absolute dog. The best is blessed. The blessed express. I mean, you name it. Max Holloway comes and bring it. And, he's going to, I think, have an advantage when it comes to the volume. And I think that's where Justin Gaethje struggles a little bit. It's just the power aspect. Justin's definitely going to have the power advantage. But Max Holloway, I mean, it won't take a lot to get a finish. He has a lot of TKOs in his back pocket, He just came off, I think, not too long ago, finishing the Korean Zombie. So the X factor is the leg kicks. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are a sight to behold. I mean, they are so vicious, and we've seen Alexander Volkanovski land some brutal leg kicks to Max Holloway, and they show their ugly head in the later rounds. And we're getting 5 rounds of this fight. This could be, fight of the night. Not that it might be the most exciting. It could be, absolutely. But, I being a BMF, these guys are going to bring $300,000 on the line. Oh, man, I hate to fade my boy Max in this spot, but I'm going to take the highlight. I'm going to take the human highlight, Justin Gaethje, minus 175 on the money line because, you could do double chance, but I'm not that he's going to go for a submission. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just wanted to just play it safe and just, take him straight up there on the money line. But, how I think this line could play out, like how I saw it originally, is that it should be a pick'em. We saw that if this fight goes we expected to go, where it's going to be an exciting fight, that neither fighter, whoever does lose, if they do lose, is going to lose stock. But another way that neither fighter loses stock and the BMF stays on Gaethje's waist is that the fight ends in a draw. BMF title has been controversial before, doctor stoppage, how it's moved less and less weight. Max Holloway wins. It went from welterweight all the way down to 145. So I think that could rear its ugly head. That's my word for the weekend. I think it could. And I think there's a chance that this fight can end in a draw if both fighters play their game and we get to the judges' scorecards and it's just a war of attrition, a brutal affair, and a fight the fans had, and a fight that can go down in history and the fans love to see. So I got the fight going to a draw at plus 5,000. That's why I played Gaethje on just the money line. But yeah, I'm going to take a draw in this spot as a dream wager at plus 5,000. Not likely, but there's been controversy before.
Yeah, one thing I can agree on is this fight is going to be a banger of a fight. I do like the Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan a little better. I don't like how they're starting to defend the BMF belt, if I'm being honest. I love how Mark Coleman is going to put the belt around the winner. I like that because he's the OG badass.
Yep.
But I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the Bless Express. I think he's in a win-win situation. Hypothetically, even though if he winds up losing, he has a title shot right there at 145. I think with Ilia Topuria, I think he likes that matchup as well. I think it's not an easy one because I don't think Ilia Topuria is an easy matchup for anyone. But in his mind and in his words, he likes that matchup. So even if he does lose, he might wind up going back to 145. Or if he goes out here and beats, because a lot of people think Justin Gaethje is the right guy for Islam next. If he goes out there and knocks out Justin Gaethje, who's to say he's not next, or him or Dustin? So I think he's in a win-win situation at 155 or at 145. But here, I just think he has an incredible chin. I think he is one of the best boxers in the, I almost said WWE, in the UFC. And I think eventually the gas tank is going to run out for Justin Gaethje, and I think he's going to wind up putting him away late. I'm going to take the plus money, but the line has gone back and forth. You know, you're talking about it could be a pick 'em, and I agree. I do think the line should be closer, but Justin Gaethje almost a balloon to a minus 200 earlier in the week. Money's come in actually on Max Holloway, which is why Justin Gaethje is sitting around a minus 155 favorite. So he's actually at the shortest he's ever been. Justin Gaethje, he opened up a minus 180. He's gotten up to 200. Now he's down to minus 145, and I think more money's actually going to come in on Max Holloway closer to the fight tomorrow. So yeah, I agree with the line movement. I'm going to take Max Holloway. I think he's the rightful fighter, and I think his boxing is going to put him over.
Yeah, I don't know if you see anything on the double chance, like for Gaethje, like KO or decision, because I don't think this submission isn't happening in the BMF fight. You know what I mean? I think the same could be said for Max Holloway, like a double chance. You don't need to go that far for Holloway, being that he's plus money, but you get a better value if you were to take the KO, TKO, or decision for either fighter.
So double chance for Justin Gaethje to win KO, TKO, or decision, minus 150. Max Holloway to win KO, TKO, or decision, plus 140.
There really isn't much movement between the two. Yeah, it's literally the same as taking him on the money line. And I think looking back, I'm sorry I drew a blank, but that's probably why I just took him on the money line. Goodness gracious, if there is a submission, there you go. There goes the ticket for the double chance. So, and I bet submission has got crazy value, but I just don't know who's willing enough to take it. Like I took a draw bet. Like that's just crazy. So yeah, very ballsy in my part. But let's go into the co-main event slot. In an undisputed UFC strawweight championship between Weili Zhang at minus 500 taking on Yan Xiaonan at plus 380. D-Rock, I'll hand it off to you. Who do you got in this co-main event?
Yeah, give me Yan Shan now. Plus 540. I got it over at Bet Rivers. I see plus 380s. Yeah, plus 540 is fucking ridiculous. Just based on pure value, I have to take Yan Shan now. I think she might not have the power, but I think she's sharper with her striking. Yan Xiaonan has gotten caught. We saw obviously the head kick that will live in infamy forever with Rose. So she is susceptible to leaving her hands down. And I think Yan Xiaonan is coming in here well rested. Last time she fought was in Newark, and I think she gets it. Chinese versus Chinese. Give me Yan Xiaonan and New.
no matter what will happen at the end of this fight, we
It will
will
stay in
have
China.
a Chinese champion.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
I love the value took on Yan Xiaonan, and I think she's come a long way. But the loss to Carla Esparza was bad. If you go back to that fight, that was a bad loss for her. And we saw what Weili Zhang did to Carla Esparza. So MMA math never adds up. I always speak on. I mention it every podcast, but it could equate to something in this one. They both know each other, but they've never fought. And I think Weili Zhang has wanted to fight Yan Xiaonan back, in their regional ranks over there. I think it's hard to see a finish in this one in my eyes. I know Weili Zhang does have the capability of doing it, but there might be some hesitancy between the two, between the familiarity, between that they want to show their technical prowess here, and there isn't a lot of power coming from Yan Xiaonan, so I don't think that her likelihood to get the fight to finish is playable. I think you took her with the tremendous value in the money line there. I think even taking Yan Xiaonan via decision is probably extremely profitable and extremely likely. As it is for Weili Zhang, and that's what I have. I have Magnum via decision at plus 175. Look, you're not getting value out of Weili Zhang any other way, really. Via decision is probably the more likely of the options besides, the via KO, TKO. But I don't know. She doesn't have like the grappling as like a Carla Esparza, who has to solely rely on that, who got the ground and pound finish against Yan Xiaonan. She's an amazing fighter. Weili Zhang could do it. But I think she could outclass Yan Xiaonan in this spot. And don't doubt her. I mean, she does have the power, so there's always a chance that she could get that finish. But we've seen it before, and sometimes in the co-main event slot, the lights are the brightest. It could slow the pace of the entire card. I hate to say it, but that's something that could happen. And I'm going to go with the champ. I think she defends. I think she continues on her tear. I'm going to go with Magnum, Weili Zhang, via decision at plus 175 in the co-main event. And D-Rock, it's time. We've made it to the main event of UFC 300 for the undisputed UFC light heavyweight championship between Alex Pereira, minus 130, and Jamal Hill at a plus 110. And I guess I'll just go ahead and give you what I got here, man. A lot of people are expecting Poatan to get a finish. A lot of people are expecting Sweet Dreams to get a finish. But, these fighters, man, they don't really go out too often. Izzy caught Poatan when he was dehydrated. Paul Craig got the TKO finish against him when Jamal Hill broke his arm. He was caught in a triangle, had an arm broken, and he got finished TKO there. Still didn't go out. I think not a lot of people are expecting this fight to go further than the first and second round. And so I'm expecting fireworks, but possibly late. I think a knockout could happen from either fighter, but I'll be honest with you. I have the fight going to the decision in my verdict prediction. So what my official plays will be is over 2.5 at plus 120 to get some plus money value, and the fight to start round 3 at minus 120. So if that doesn't tell you something, they're expecting the fight to start at least round 3. The over 2.5 could absolutely hit. So you're going to get plus money based off that. You're going to get, minus 120 odds where you don't have to lay a lot of chalk for it. And I think we're going to be in. I didn't want to pick a side. I'm a fan of both guys. I had a picture with Jamal Street Dreams Hill. Massive dude, and Alex Pereira Poatan is massive as well. So two absolute behemoths at the light heavyweight division. Leather's going to be swinging in this main event. I think it's a great matchup for UFC 300. I really do. The star power between both guys. And it was a heated press conference. Jamal Hill brought out the Chama head, and Poatan is stoic as always. I think we're in for a treat. And I wanted to go first because, D-Rock, I wanted you to end this UFC 300 card with your opinion. So what do you have for this main event?
Yeah, I'm going to take Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill on the money line, plus 115, the real champ. He never lost his belt, still gets pay-per-view points, and so does Yuri Prohaska as well. I wanted to say that. I forgot to say that while we were breaking that card down. But yeah, I'm going to go Jamal Hill. I worry about the leg kicks. I mean, look how quick Yuri was to change into his stance. So Izzy as well, changing stances. Those leg kicks are going to affect Jamal Hill. I think the only way, and it kind of goes counterintuitive to what you played, but I think the only way for Jamal Hill to win this fight, it can't be it can't be a long, dirty fight like he had with Glover, goes all
He's
4
got
or
to knock
5
him
rounds.
out.
He has to knock him out, and it has to be early. I think he has to pressure him and make this an ugly fight in the clinch. And I think he has the power to definitely do it. We saw Izzy knock him out. His chin is susceptible. I think Jamal Hill has the power to finish him. It's can he
Wrestling?
Yes, as well. So I think he has more ways to actually win. I think he's actually the better fighter, if I'm being honest. I like Jamal Hill way better than Alex Pereira. No disrespect to the champ. I just think there's more ways to win. I think coming back after this injury in 8-9 months of Achilles is tough. It's very tough. Worrisome from Eric
For any
Nixon.
fighter coming back from injury throughout this card, I think.
Yeah. But Eric Nixon has trained with him over there in Vegas. He said he looks good. He said he's motivated. Everything sounds positive coming out of his corner. So he looks motivated. He looks like he's ready to get his belt back. Give me Sweet Dream Hill plus 115, and I'll finish it. I do have a parlay if I could get to that.
Yeah, I have a parlay as well. So go ahead.
All right. I'm going to do a 5-legger parlay.
Woo!
Davison Figueiredo, Jalen Turner, Kayla Harrison, Aljo, and Bo Nickel on the money line plus 286.
Wow. And it's funny because 2 of your legs are 2 opposites for my 2-leg parlay. I got the Cody parlay. I'm willing to put Cody Brundage on a parlay just for a long shot and put Cody Garbrandt with the odds there. Plus 4,450. 4,450 plus odds. I mean, tremendous value there. If it happens, man, declare me a saint of this shit, because who would have saw that coming? But talking real quick about the main event again. I know I mentioned the wrestling, but I'll be honest with you. I think Poatan might be the better wrestler of the two. I really do. I think all the Glover help training out there and the jiu-jitsu and everything. I think he's actually very, he accrued a lot of information with Glover at his, head as his head coach, basically. And Jamal Hill, I think you're right with what you said. I think Jamal Hill's gonna have to catch him to be victorious. But I'll be honest. I'm XP hunting. I got Jamal Hill via decision on my verdict prediction. So, hey, Joey D Zone, we'll see what happens.
Last 3 fights for my boy Jamal Hill. 3-0 against Brazilians. Can he make it 4-0? He beat his daddy, Glover Teixeira, he beat Thiago Santos, and he beat Johnny Walker.
Yep.
Let's see if he can make it 4 in a row.
He might have the Brazilians number, and he very well might have both Glover and Alex's number. Hey.
It's his father. It's his father. We'll see. But Joe, I fucking can't wait. Make sure you guys are locked and loaded. Got the food, got the drinks, got your nice lazy boy chair or couch, and be locked in 6 p.m. I fucking can't wait.
I'll be there.
I'll be there and be square. Joe, before we get out of here, 10 seconds left. We're going down to Florida, BKFC, 8 p.m. tonight. Double screen. We got the PFL tonight and BKFC.
Yep, in Clearwater, Florida. Yep, co-main event slot. Jafar Fort Knox is taking on Elvin Leon El Bandido Brito. I got to go with the dog, Fort Knox, plus 135. Yeah, dude, he could finish fights, and I'm going to take him here. Bare Knuckle is all about grit and determination. I think he's going to have a lot of that in the co-main event slot. And then in the main event, Mike the Marine Richmond is back, and he's taking on a good matchup for him. Eric El Treviso Lozano. I've took Lozano in the past before, and he's burnt me, and I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to go with the big favorite, minus 415 for the Marine. I think he can get a finish, but I wasn't willing to go ahead and do that. So just wanted to get a win under my belt, and I'll do that for 10 seconds left. Hopefully it continues, because so far 2 of my last 10 seconds left have hit. So we're on a roll again. Let's keep it going.
Hey, ebbs and flows. That's what the business is about, kid. Let's fucking go. Good luck this weekend. Good luck to everyone out there in UFC 300. That is going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, myself, make sure you guys follow along our social media, X and Instagram at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Sunday night and Friday afternoon on YouTube, youtube.com/Axe Kick Picks Live. Hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Good luck on your wagers this weekend. Be safe, be well, and we will see you guys on Monday. Peace.